stuck here. The cops won't bother me. This little compartment, I have it full of stuff. My camera, and I have drinks in here. I have like some tools, my jacket, frappuccinos. I have my DSLR camera, and I have even more space for stuff. This is why this bike makes such a good commuter. When you look at my saddlebags here on the FJR, sure, it's nice. It's a nice bike, and it looks great, and it's got tons of speed. But one of the things I hate about the FJR is that the saddlebags open this way, and it makes it so difficult to put stuff in there. This is an old school way of the saddlebags. I just don't see the point of this system. I'd rather have the top loading saddlebags. Those are just much more handier than having this sideways, because like you're putting something in there and putting this, for example, I cram it in there and then I have to like close it. I haven't started this bike in a while, but fuel injection, man, I have learned quite a bit from vlogging. So I wanted to give you some tips on vlogging on your motorcycle. And, you know, of course, I'm not very good. And there's like tons of these really popular moto vloggers around. Like Chase on Two Wheels and Two Wheel Obsession. And what's that one guy? On Two Wheels. And some other guys that I don't remember. Oh, Yabby Noob. I like him. He's funny. And people mistake me for him. But yeah, he's got way more money than me. But I wanted to give you some tips on moto vlogging. You know, moto vlogging is just not for narcissists like me. They're also for people who just want to ride, because oftentimes I find that having a GoPro camera or action camera connected is almost like a safety, because I've had quite a few events happen with cars, and if you get into a car accident, you have some proof. And if a car hits you, you're not going to be taking the time to get up after you hit like a wall or something and jot down the license plate as he drives away. It's just not going to happen. But if you have a camera, you could potentially capture it on video, because it's always recording. And with a good quality camera like a GoPro or a Ghost Drift or whatever, you could capture the license plate, and in post you could just you know, find their license plate and have some proof. So in case I get killed, I want it to be captured, because I want my culprits to be taken in and beaten to that. Yes, I'm not one of these guys that believes that you should have like leniency. If you're texting and driving and you kill somebody, yeah, I want the book thrown at you. Hopefully it's a very heavy book. Some really good things about GoPro, but I find that there's other action cameras coming on the market now that are a little bit better. The Yi 4K Plus, if it had better audio, it would be just as good as the GoPro. But for me, because I'm cheap, I actually like the idea of getting an older version. I would not get like the newer GoPros. I think they're actually making them cheaper, and in a way they're making them in such a way that they fail, because they want more people to upgrade. You know, we become the society of every year we need to upgrade our phones, our cameras. And in reality, I am very much like the Native Americans. I take the buffalo and I use every single ounce of the buffalo until it's just completely gone. And I do that with technology, and honestly I don't find that there's much to it. GoPro has got such good things, and they've relaxed. You know, they're letting their quality go down, even though they have kind of like the market corner, because they spend so much money on marketing, and it's not a very good bang for the buck. And I always tell people, just get like the older version of the GoPro. One of the things with the GoPro is that you have a very wide angle lens. Go ahead, man, get in there. You have a very wide angle lens, and when you choose 4K, you're reduced from the super view to just a wide view, and that's what you're getting right now, is the wide view. And of course your frames per second do drop. They drop to like 30 frames per second. So when I was shooting in 1080p, I thought that was a cop. When I was shooting in 1080p, I was getting 60 frames per second. So the more frames, the smoother it is. And I do like that, just in case I get in an accident. If my body goes flying one way, the chances of seeing the license plate of the car that killed me will be a lot easier to bring him to justice. And I'm assuming it's going to be a him that kills me. But when it comes to vlogging, I have made a lot of mistakes. And the first mistake I did was getting the Hero 5. I think the better camera for vlogging is really the Hero 4 Silver. And that is if you stick with GoPro. And GoPro seems to be the brand that everybody likes. And I also like it that it's in my chin. It's mounted in my chin as opposed to the side of my helmet. When you mount the camera on the side of your helmet, it looks like you're just getting a perspective of a passenger. You know, like when a passenger like just turns their head sideways to look at in front of you. I don't like that look, because when I'm watching vlogs, I like to kind of like see from the perspective of the rider. So the chin is really the closest thing, and the chin is also the least intrusive form of vlogging for moto vloggers, because it's right in front of you. Now I did have a E4K camera which was in competition with this one, and it turns out that the Hero 5, you don't know about this when you start vlogging, but if you want to actually vlog, you need a microphone. So you can get a microphone, but with the Hero 5 and up, you need a audio adapter that only GoPro makes, and that's like $50 something, and I have it, and it's just as big as the camera. So it's kind of crazy that GoPro did this just to get people to buy it, because they didn't need to. The GoPro Hero 4 was actually good enough, and you didn't need higher quality audio. Nobody was asking for higher quality audio. I think that GoPro has learned from Apple, but GoPro is kind of dropping. I don't know if you guys realize they're not as good as they used to be, because I think they're taking advantage of people. They're actually making cameras that are breaking. The firmwares aren't very good. I have problems all the time with my camera, and I've gotten so many issues with it. Sometimes it just turns off, and you did this wheelie for like 6 miles, and of course you can't show it because your camera decided to crap out on you. So with the E4K, you cannot have external audio, and I found out the hard way because I bought one. And the lucky thing for me was that I bought it from Amazon, so I could return it, and I returned it. It didn't have an external audio port, but the E4K Plus has an external audio port, so you can get that, but the quality is pretty bad. It gets a lot of noise and stuff. But get this, in this camera, the audio that you're hearing, at one point I could not get the audio to work properly, and it was kind of strange because I had multiple microphones and they all worked. All the microphones worked. I bought even what the hell, look at this imbecile, fucking idiot. So I bought even very good microphones, like the Purple Panda and stuff, and it didn't work, and I couldn't get this camera to work. That's why I am very weary of GoPro. They have these manipulation tactics that they are using to get the most money out of their users. But there are a couple other options other than the GoPro. There is the Ghost Drift, and there's several versions of the Ghost Drift. The Ghost Drift has got several good things to it. For example, it can do a lot more battery it has a lot more battery space, so you can actually ride for 9 hours on the battery. This GoPro is 90 minutes, so it's really pathetic. So those are my tips on cameras for vlogging and picking the right mounting positions. You know, I would rather have like the chin position. But what do you guys think? What cameras do you guys use for vlogging? And I really recommend people getting a camera for vlogging. It's not just about putting stuff on YouTube, but just kind of keeping safe. I find myself to be a little bit safer riding with a camera at all times mounted. By the way, I'm using 4K and my battery is almost dead because it uses much more energy. Alright, squids, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.